website, so there is a creative process involved here.
Yes.
You're not just traveling and not talking to anybody.
No.
No, not at
What
all.
is the website called?
It's called Worldwide Waftage.
What's
And
waftage mean?
It's from the Old English Dictionary,
Okay.
and it means to travel gently by air, sea, or land.
Really?
To waft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Worldwidewaftage.com. And what do visitors to your site get or see?
There's no charge to go there.
Right.
We do have advertisers. You know, we try to make a little money off of it,
Yeah.
but we don't push the advertisers. People go in there for no charge, and they can read. We've done almost 3,500 stories, which is equivalent to a chapter in a book.
I will make this available on all the Garage Logic social media
let's
channels.
put it on our
Yeah,
site.
yeah.
Please do.
I'm doing
Thank
it right
you.
now. This
Thank
is really
you.
cool.
And so we have people from all over the world, and many people write to us and give us suggestions when we're in their town or want to meet up with us. We go on a cruise ship, and people recognize us from our website.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So it's kind of fun. I mean, we're kind of just shaking our heads.
So there's a means to this end. You are communicating this way of life.
Right.
Yeah.
Every day we do a new story.
Okay.
Never miss a day.
I'm a ancestry nut, with your ancestry. I would love to know when they came over from Ireland, my ancestors, I know they were steerage, they weren't white tablecloth. So it's kind of, when we started this, it was for our kids and grandkids and our siblings. So, and it has kept expanding.
Growing and growing. And people from all over the world, and it just amazed us, because originally we did it so we wouldn't have to write, 50, 60 emails a day to everybody in the family on how we were doing. So all of a sudden it just took off, and so it's a job.
Can you take precautions from here on out to not ever get trapped again, or is that just strictly was a freak of COVID?
Yeah, that was a fluke.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a fluke.
And it's a pain that, you got to take the COVID test. It used to be 72 hours before a flight you take. Now they got it down to the day before.
Right.
So now you almost got to buy these at-home COVID tests to do it, to be able to go on a flight.
The COVID has had a huge impact on our travels. It really has. Because there are many countries we would go visit, but the restrictions are so much that if you were going for a week or two, it'd be okay. But for us to go stay for a while, it's not appealing.
What about the Far East? Have you done Japan?
No, before COVID, we had 3 cruises booked from Australia, Singapore, and then around Japan, and then come back to Seattle. Those 3 cruises got canceled.
No China.
Cancel. No, we haven't done China.
No South Korea.
No, we went to Vietnam,
Okay.
and I was hesitant about that because back in 1970, my ex-brother-in-law was 19 and was KIA in Nam.
Right.
And I was hesitant about going to Nam, but then talking to Vietnam friends of mine who are veterans, I'm not a vet, and when we were in Australia, Aussies were comrades and neighboring, and they kept telling me to go.
Yeah.
And we went and we did a cruise on the Mekong River, and it was, I was humbled by how the Vietnamese people was so outgoing.
Wow.
And so welcoming. So
just
it was
fantastic.
really an extraordinary experience.
How do you deal with the language? Sorry, Chris. Language barriers in all these different countries. Do you try to learn their language a little bit, or do you get a local guide, or what?
The first thing we do is learn the word thank you.
Oh,
That's number one.
That's
Good
really
tip.
smart.
And once you learn that word, you can get so much done.
oh,
I'm going to tell this story. We were in Madeira.
Not if she grabs your arm, you're not.
No, you're not telling this story. No, you aren't.
We were in Madeira. It's a Portuguese-speaking
Right.
country off the coast of Africa.
Right.
Small grocery store, butcher shop, and this young female butcher, she's in her late 20s, and they had the signs up for the cow and the lamb and the pigs, and you could point at what cut meat you want.
Right.
And so she did that because we didn't speak Portuguese. Well, then it was just the two of us and this young female butcher. Jess goes, buck, 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 more, and she grabbed her own breath. My chin hit my chest. And that young female butcher reached in there and she cut 4 chicken
That's
breasts.
how you get chicken breasts.
But that's how you communicate.
Oh, right here, baby.
Yeah.
And I said, would you have done that if that was the male butcher? And she's, oh, Lord, no.
what about the French? I keep interrupting
No,
you,
go
Chris.
ahead, go
I'll let
ahead.
you go next time. Are the French the pain in the ass that we assume they are? Or are they pretty cool?
She took French for 4 years in high school and didn't use it for 50 years, so she could read the menus, read the road signs. So that helped a lot. And being that we stay someplace for a while, they soften up. The Italians at first too were we spent 3 months in
Tuscany.
Yeah, Tuscany.
Bavaria.
And at first we didn't speak Italian, but then the locals kind of adopted us.
We lived in a 300-year-old stone house in a little town called Bavaglio. And it's just little cobblestone streets that were steep hills, and no one spoke English, and we had a fantastic time.
Good.
So
Lord,
I'm
this
going
sounds
back
wonderful.
to the very beginning when you see him reading the newspaper with the television on, and he says, I want to travel the world, just basically to get you out of the room. That week, how the hell do you budget that?
I just sat down with my computer, an Excel spreadsheet, and I started figuring out what would it take for us to live in beautiful places throughout the world and be able to make it affordable with our retirement pension. And I did the math, and I'm kind of a numbers cruncher kind of person.
Sure.
And put it together, and the reality was we had to get rid of everything we own. We couldn't have car insurance, house insurance. We don't even have insurance in the U.S. because we had to buy international insurance, health insurance. And so figuring all this out, we discussed it in January. We left on Halloween. It took that long every day, 12 hours a day I worked on it.
Wow.
And booking. We booked out the first 2 years.
First 2 years?
Before we even left.
Wow.
We wanted,
my.
because if you don't have a home, there's a certain sense of security knowing you have a place to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we are not the kind of people that show up in a big city and don't have a place to stay.
May I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Neither of you wear wedding rings.
No.
Did you sell them?
My wedding ring is in my oldest son's safe in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
When you spend we've spent 3.5 years in Africa out of the 9.5 years we've been traveling. You do not wear jewelry.
Oh,
Even costume jewelry,
They'll,
they said
they'll
do
cut your
not
hand
wear.
off for a
Really?
ring.
oh, okay.
They don't know the difference between real and costume, and they'd mug you for,
Right.
You're kidding. Wow.
Well, speaking of that, I've been wondering, have you ever been a victim of pickpockets or muggings?
No, knock on wood, we haven't.
Great.
Because you don't have anything.
Well, I don't.
He wears. We both have wallets that have
Now,
those
here's
big.
my wallet.
We
and
both have these
What I
clips
do
on.
Yeah.
is, got a clip like this. Can you see it, Kenny?
Yeah.
And I hook it on my belt loop.
Yep.
And then I shove it in my pants. So
Yep.
I'm going
Oh.
to pick my pocket.
You're not going to get that.
I'm going
Right.
to get a feel
And I
on
do
it.
the same.
I'm not even going to try for it.
No. So that's when we.
But
That's a
this
good
is
tip.
RFID. Our wallets are RFID.
What's that mean?
It means that with one of those scanners, they can't go read your credit card numbers and your passport
Oh,
numbers.
right. It's
So
got
we
a
have
shield.
all RFID. We did a lot of security things.
So is your website, could it serve as a guidebook on how to do what you're doing?
It does. We have a search bar, and if someone wants to look up health insurance, they can just type it in the search. But the reality is, it's a dialogue of our day-to-day lives
Yeah.
as homeless people that have no place that they call their own, and the experiences that we have day after day.
Yeah.
And whether it's waking up in the morning in the bush and there's 12 giraffes in our driveway,
Yeah.
or it's being in a foreign country and someone brings a basket of flowers to the door.
Have you guys been approached about this possibly becoming a reality
Oh, yeah.
television show?
2 offers we've had, and we've turned
you've turned them both down?
We turned them both down.
Really?
We didn't do this to make money.
Right.
We
Yeah.
did this for love.
Well, if they throw it enough at you, you might change
Yeah,
your
but
mind.
it's very
I
intrusive.
wouldn't give it. There is no amount of money that would make me give this up.
Really?
No, well,
No.
Cool.
you know,
Well, I suppose the restrictions put on you if you had to be filmed would be incredible.
right.
Horrible.
Because if you went to a restaurant, they come in with lights and a
Yeah,
microphone.
sure.
We had offers for 2 book deals.
Really?
And we turned that down because then we'd be going to bookstores and signing.
Yep.
Right.
And we don't want anybody, any company
Dictating the terms.
telling us
Yes.
how to live this life.
This is a
It's
glamorous
only one that
hobo
dictates.
life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I stepped on you. What did you say? I'm sorry.
No, I love what he just said.
Well,
This
Tom
is a-
just said something that we
Oh,
didn't
I said
hear.
she's the only one that dictates.
Right. Hand on the arm.
Yeah.
No, what I said was this is like a fun, glamorous hobo life, which
But-
I've always wanted to do.
But there's parts that aren't glamorous. Let me just say this.
Okay.
As much time as we like spending in Africa, and we've been to many countries in Africa, so it isn't just South Africa, but many other countries. And there's a lot of bugs. There's bugs in your bed. There's bugs on the wall. There's bugs on your clothes. You have to wear repellent around the clock. There's snakes in the veranda or in the house. The temperature will be 100 degrees and the humidity's 90. I mean, there's very many uncomfortable aspects.
Sure.
But we don't complain.
Okay.
And because we don't complain, whatever it is, we deal with it.
Now, it's been 12 years?
It will be 10 in
It'll be
Halloween.
10. Now, during the 10 years, with the exception of Antarctica, which would be an obvious exception, have you done all of this traveling to avoid winter?
Mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Because when we were talking about Antarctica, early on, my siblings and friends of mine, coworkers, are snowbirds, typical Minnesota, and they go south. And that was a motivating factor. They end up with 2 homes, 2 expenses of everything, and by not having any, it's affordable.
It's got to be a freeing feeling.
That's the thing that we both love so much is we are so free.
Everybody, I think, everybody innately would like to be a minimalist. None of us are.
Except when it comes to cylinders.
Yeah.
I have none. None.
But then again, you are the ultimate minimalist.
Yeah, yeah.
You own 3 suitcases. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have
God.
digital equipment and we have, we have technology.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even comprehend that, Such.
No.
I'm so bad that I carry a coffee maker with me when I go to a hotel. the coffee.
Our rationale is if it doesn't have something, we adapt. And so many times you write on our website when we do a new post every day about adaptation and how important it is to us that we need to be adaptable. We go into a place and the bed's not comfortable. Listen, we're sleeping in somebody else's bed around the world. If it's not comfortable, we go, oh darn, it's not comfortable. We'll make the best of it.
How much research did you do ahead of? I'm guessing you did a lot, but how much research did you do ahead of time to adjust to certain diets in certain parts of the world? I mean, given that you might have an allergy or you might have
Well, I
something.
have a special diet that I'm on. I kind of do a low carb diet, which has made
Okay.
it possible for us to travel because I got rid of some medical conditions that I had
Okay.
that were hereditary, along with the heart disease that was hereditary. But I do this diet, and it's very easy because every country you go to has meat, vegetables, salad,
And when she says meat, fish, too.
some kind
Sure.
of some kind of meat. There is no place that we can't find something.
Are you a church-going couple?
We
We
used to,
were, and when we got married twice because we were divorced. We got married by a judge here
Right.
in Hennepin County, and then we both got our previous marriages annulled.
Okay.
And because we're Catholic, and then we got married in the church. But as we traveled, there isn't very many Catholic
No, there
churches
really
in the
isn't.
areas because we're all in the outlying
I got to
area.
think there aren't any in Marloth Park.
there is, but
Maybe 20 miles away
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
all right,
like
all
that.
right.
you
yeah,
know, but-
very crowded, and
Yeah.
it was,
and then with
Lots of places.
COVID too, that
Yeah. Well, fascinating.
I'm not done.
Neither am I.
Sit back. What about island hopping, exotic islands? And I don't mean just the Caribbean or Hawaii. Exotic locations, small little islands, hard to get to.
yeah,
that type
we've
of
done a
thing.
lot of that.
we did.
Fiji types things?
Yeah.
Fiji.
Fiji, we spent 4 months.
We could, because we go for what they
Two
can
different
tell.
islands.
Like most countries, it's 60, 90, or 120 days. Fiji happened to be 120 days, so we spent 90 days on one island and 30 days on
the
another
main
island.
island in Fiji is called Vanua Levu, and the one we stayed on for the longer period of time was Viti Levu, and it's a very small island, and we were pretty much the only Caucasians there, other than the sailboats that came in to replenish their food, and we loved every moment of it.
I bet.
Those people were amazing.
When we flew from the bigger island to the smaller island,
What?
What's wrong, Kenny?
I'm motioning Reavers.
Oh,
Who's
sorry.
next? Keep talking,
Go.
Tom.
anyway, on a small plane, with the door opens up and the stairs, 3 steps are on the door to get. They not only weighed our luggage, we had to get on the scale. Because
Oh.
they've got to know how
Right,
to balance the
right,
thing.
right.
And
Wow.
there was a lady in line ahead of us. She says, "I'm not getting on that scale." And they said, "You're not getting on that plane." They tell her.
And for us, we have to watch our weight.
Yep.
Not only because we have one suitcase with clothes, they have to fit us today, tomorrow, 6 months from
Right,
now.
right.
So we
Oh,
can't
right.
gain weight. So we very much are careful about. We only eat 2 meals a day. We don't snack. We don't eat junk food.
Yeah.
We have very careful to maintain good health.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Has your perception about Americans changed with your travels? What do you think about us?
Yes.
Yes.
In what way?
Well, I love my country, and I'm very much a Lagrange logician. The country's changing, and as we've traveled, the world is divided too. And as we met people, when Trump was president, foreigners didn't like Trump, and other ones in the same country did like Trump. So it was that. But I always say about the divided country, my dad was a Democrat. My mother was a Republican. They had 11 kids. They were married for 57 years. On election day, after dinner, they'd get in the car, and they used to go out to the kitchen door, and they'd say, "We're going to go cancel each other's vote." So
We do that
I
in
grew
my
up in a
house.
divided household.
What
But
about
they make it a
ugly?
bigger thing now.
Right.
Yeah.
What about ugly Americans? Are we crass
Let me
and
answer
crude and loudmouth like me, or are we genteel citizens?
But as we've met,
Jess wants to answer this.
Okay.
Didn't you get the arm grab?
Right.
Didn't you get the arm grab?
When we took off on this, we made a commitment to each other for two things, aside other things. But one of them was we'd never be the ugly American. We wouldn't leave a footprint behind that people would say, "Oh, Americans have been here."
Right.
So we clean up. We're nice. We're kind. We're considerate. We're generous, and we do everything we can that people have a great memory of us. This couple that came here.
Great.
The other thing is we made a commitment that if either one of us ever got tired of doing this, we would tell the other, and the other would agree to quit.
And that hasn't happened
You
yet.
haven't reached that point.
We check.
twice a year, she'll ask me, or I'll ask her, and she asks me. And we agreed to that before we left Minnesota in 2012. And she'll say, "You want to keep going? Do you want to stop?" No, I don't want to stop.
Well, if you stopped, you'd have to undo this life and start owning things again.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that is so unappealing.
And that never happened once in the 10 months you had to spend isolated?
Never once
Really?
in that hotel room. At 3:00 every afternoon, I'd be done with the blog. I'd have that all taken care of. We'd do whatever financial paperwork we had to do. And then we would start streaming. We plugged in an HDMI cord because they didn't have smart TVs in India. And we'd plug in and we'd stream shows. And we'd ask our readers, send us names of good shows. We'd sign up for any service
Right.
so we could watch shows. So we sat there from 3 p.m. till we went to bed every night watching shows.
And I suppose if that didn't break you, nothing will, right?
No.
No,
we
you're
just-
bulletproof now.
Yeah. Well, we feel that way because of what we've been through. We've just been through a lot, and but none of it has felt like a sacrifice. And a lot of our family members said, "Well, why don't you come back and get a nice condo near the Mayo Clinic or a hospital, and you can be the typical." I'm going to be 75 before you know it. Typical 75-year-old woman that goes to the doctor once a week.
Yeah.
That's not me.
That's not for you.
No.
I
Well,
can't
you're
wait.
to be congratulated.
I can't wait for my wife to hear this. I'm going to have to book like 25 trips.
For the guys, when we meet other couples, and a lot of times it's the women who say, "Oh, I can't do it, to be away from the children and grandchildren, blah, blah, blah." I say to the guys, "No shopping." And this woman used to have not just 4 seasons of clothes. Because Minnesota, you got spring and fall.
Tell me about it, pal.
Yeah. And so to go from 6 closets, and half of my closet in our
To
bedroom.
one suitcase.
To one suitcase, no shopping. It's fantastic.
And
It's
even along
amazing.
your way, you don't see a little gift shop or something and
No.
think nothing.
I don't look at something and think, "Oh, I have to have that." Never.
Interesting.
Because if I buy something, I have to get rid of something I already have. Because I don't
Because
have
there's no
any-
space.
I have 23 kilos in my bag. And
You
that's
guys
what
have room. You guys have room for an official. Your official now off-site correspondent.
Yes, we'll.
Thank you, because I
Yeah.
always put that on the OS, offsite.
Well, I
OSC.
brought in 2 podcast stickers for your cars, but you don't have a car.
Ding, ding,
Put them on the
Such.
suitcase.
They've traveled the world, and you just gave them a sticker.
Here's a sticker.
It's all right.
Well,
That came from our vast inventory of gifts.
I understand. and
No,
we love
we're
it.
I hope
happy.
I'm not getting too personal, but
No.
you mentioned the kids you used to have.
Yeah.
Do you get some pushback from them at times, especially considering you had a pretty major health issue?
At that time, yes, we did. Our kids are not happy we're gone. That's just a reality, and we understand that because they like having us around.
Sure.
But our oldest son, who's just turned 55, who lives in Henderson, Nevada, he's thrilled for us. He's a bachelor. He thinks this is the greatest thing.
Yeah.
But the other kids that have our 6 grandkids, they are not happy that we're gone all the time.
No, Mimi and Papa aren't there to do the daycare.
There you
Exactly.
go.
And which she did before we started.
Right.
And the other thing is, we changed our residency from Minnesota to Nevada back in 2012. Non-income tax state. and we got to have a mail service. Everything goes through the mail service. The only two things is for driver's license and voting, we use her son's address because they need a street.
Yeah.
And after she had to triple bypass, Clark County in Nevada sent her a thing. She got called for jury duty.
Oh, boy.
About 2 weeks after I had the surgery, they
Right.
wanted me to come to jury duty.
You told them, I'm currently in.
Yeah.
And they, the first thing, they rebutted.
You
They
were in
said,
Africa at that point.
they didn't take it. They said, you have to show or we'll issue a warrant for your arrest. So then she had to mail them all the doctor's thing. And then they said, okay, being that you're over 70, you'll never ever get called for jury duty ever again.
Nice. So, what does the next year entail for you? Where are you going from here?
We'll go back to Martles, and it's 90 days. We have to exit and leave.
Yeah.
And then
And then we might fly out to Kenya and go do some big safari thing in Kenya, and then come back a week later and be back and get our visa stamped.
we
The
do
thing-
have 3 cruises booked, basically the whole month of November and December. And we leave out of Athens and we go to Israel and Egypt, back to Athens. That's 11 days. Stay on the ship. Leave Athens to the Mediterranean, go to Lisbon, Portugal. Stay on the ship, and that's 10 days. And the last one's 21 days, goes down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. And
Then
so
we'll
it'll
fly
be
back to Milo.
Joe doesn't want to brag, but he did get a new fart button.
Yeah, I got one right here.
Where is the best beach you've ever been to? Where in the world?
The Indian Ocean in Kenya.
Okay.
Really?
Absolutely pristine. The sand is white and so fine, and the sea is just aquamarine. It is so beautiful, but it's extraordinarily unsafe to walk on that beach, and there are no people on the beach.
Mombasa?
And in
Mombasa,
Bali,
yeah.
too, the sands were black, from volcano or whatever
Right.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it not safe due to?
Crime.
Okay, sure.
Crime is very big in Africa.
I bet. Sure. That much like you were saying with jewelry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we try to be as careful as we can, but there's still some risk.
Tall buildings.
Yeah.
We don't very seldom stay in the city because, as you always said, the closer you get to tall buildings,
Right.
there's too many people, there's pickpocket, there's crime. You get away from the tall buildings, in our country or anywhere in the world, people are happier,
Is there one place that you've already scheduled or that you're looking forward to that you have not been yet? Soon? Relatively soon?
We haven't scheduled. She came up with that in South America, Pantanal.
Oh, there's a place in South America, and David Attenborough had a story on about it, and it's called the Pantanal. And it is the most ecologically diverse marsh area in the world.
Really?
More wildlife than anything. And you just go in a little boat, and there's piranhas, and
South of Argentina?
It's south
Part of Brazil and Argentina is called the Pantanal. It's I don't want to call it the tributaries of the Amazon, but it's kind of
like that. But we had watched, when we lived here, watched all those David Attenborough shows, and that inspired us for so much that we went to the Great Migration. The day that we saw the Great Migration on that show, watching the big screen TV in the house, we said we have to go there, and that was before we ever decided to do this, and it's something we got to do.
I was scared to go to Africa because I was a newspaper guy, watched the news on TV, and like Kenny asked, I believed in my country and the rest of the world's a scary place. And she wanted to go to Africa. I was scared. I tried to talk her out of it and for many months, and I'm happy she wants to go
convinced
because
you.
I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, he loves it. The thing that was most profound for me is, we're all from Africa, one way or
Right.
another, whether we like that or not, that's a reality. When we went to Africa the first time, and we went to the Masai Mara, this is in Kenya, and we went on a small airplane, and I had never been on a small airplane. He had, but I hadn't. And the pilot is sitting as close to me as Joe's sitting to me, but, I'm right behind him. And my knees are knocking. I'm holding my camera, but you can't see out the scratchy window of the little plane. And the pilot's name was Edwin, and he kept turning around and says, "Jessica, I'm going to get you there safely. I promise. Nothing to worry about." And we're flying over. We're heading to this place where there's no runway. We're just going to be on the savannah.
Grass.
You want
And-
dirt,
Dirt,
gravel.
dirt. And he says to me, "Jessica, look out the window to your right." And I looked out that window, and I saw Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, my.
And when I get goosebumps when I say this, I
Oh,
saw
wow.
that, my life changed at that moment.
Really?
I bet.
When we get off that plane, I felt like I was home.
What she said there, because it was a small plane where the steps are in the door. When
yeah.
and she says, I feel like I should kiss the ground. I said, you're not the Pope. You know?
Well, we're going to link worldwidewaftage.com. So
Yeah, I already have it on the both the Twitter and the
can
Facebook
access
page.
it. I really appreciate your time, and keep these coming in because it's become a bit we
May
can't do without.
May I suggest an addition?
Yes.
From wherever you're at, how about a day in history of Mumbai, India? In addition to
Well,
this,
if you can find it.
Yeah,
I don't want to give the guy work to do.
well,
Yeah.
I just thought it'd
like
be
a
kind of
job.
cool.
Yeah.
It'll feel
You
like a
guys,
job.
I've been listening to Such for years, just blather on, and this is easily the most fascinating thing I've ever been a part of. This is so
thank you.
fascinating to me.
Thank you. It's really an honor to us to be here. I mean, we're just really
it
glad
was
to be here.
And I
such
tell
a
you-
great pleasure meeting you.
And none of us had any idea, did we?
No,
mean,
no,
we-
I had no idea. No,
Like
not
we
at
have
all.
never met before,
No.
and the only communication we've had are these goofy "this day in history."
Yeah, emails, exactly.
yeah.
If I could make a travel suggestion, Waterville is really nice this time of year. Right on Highway 60.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful,
Waterville.
wonderful. Thank you very much,
When's the town ball game there?
Yes,
Tom and
exactly.
Jessica Lyman, the traveling Lymans.
Oh,
Thank you,
man.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having us.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.